Anyway, you want to know the truth, but the auto workers, they love Trump because, our auto industry was 50% of our industry was stolen between Mexico, China, Canada, probably a lot more than 50%, I believe. But we're going to bring it all back. Under a Trump administration, gasoline-fired engines will be allowed, but child sexual mutilation will be banned. You know what that means, right? I'm always amazed. I'm always amazed when I say that, because they mutilate sexually your children without your permission. And every time I say it, I say, could you imagine 10 years ago, 15 years ago, making that statement? People in the audience would say, what's wrong with that guy? Sexual mutilation. That's what they do. I will also sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our beautiful children.
I just figured he was on.
And I will not give one penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or mask mandate. It's ridiculous.
I haven't caught a Trump speech in quite some time. I see he's live right now. I figured why not stream it? So feel free. I'm intrigued as to the things he's talked about already. He always shakes it up, man. He may not be the most eloquent speaker, but the things he says, if you can dare to just leave behind the fact that he didn't say it in the most eloquent, politically correct way, he's speaking the truth. All right. And hello to everybody who has joined.
And another one which you can't believe that you have to say 10 years ago, they would have said, take that man off the stage. There's something wrong with him. I will keep men out of women's sports, okay? Simple.
Men out of women's sports, you got my vote, buddy.
Who thinks that that's like a good idea? But you know what? The Democrats do. I don't. Who can imagine? Do you ever see some of the records that have been brought, like in weightlifting? I think they lifted up 150 pounds. It's actually a very bad thing for women. It's very unfortunate that it's happening. It demoralizes women. It's a horrible thing. Weightlifting, swimming, all of these sports, records are being broken by numbers nobody ever thought were even possible. The swimming record was obliterated by, they're looking for a tenth of a second. And, people beat it by 2 minutes. It's crazy. The weightlifting, 150 pounds by a guy that didn't lift before. Have you lifted before? Beating champions. Have you lifted before? Well, not too much. Boom. And they break the record by numbers that are just crazy. I always say they put a quarter of an ounce on one side of the barbell. They put a quarter of an ounce on the other side. They go for a record that's been standing for 18 years. And a young woman gets up and she works so hard. And I won't go through the whole act because the First Lady hates when I do that. She said, it's not presidential, but I think it's fine. Oh.
See, at least this dude can have a good time with the audience.
So proud, but they're doing
not just droning on.
They put that quarter of an ounce on each side. Mom, you can't do it. Sorry, Mom. I'll do it again. I'll work so hard. Then a guy comes up.
If he says anything I can critique, I'll critique it. But, so far.
Transitioned. And they ask him that question. Have you had success in weightlifting before? No, I've never really done it before. Oh, good. And he gets up. Bing. Do you want me to do it a few more times?
The bing. Okay.
Swimming, the same thing. The swimming records are being obliterated. It's ridiculous. It's very, very ridiculous. And I can't even believe we have to talk about it. And, young ladies that are being affected by it very greatly, like swimming champions, they're afraid to talk about it.
Like
they're actually
real
afraid
women.
to talk about it.
Yes.
Just as I did 4 years ago, I will fully uphold the Second Amendment, which, as you know, is under siege. And I kept it perfect for you. I kept it perfect.
Here's something that I need to verify about RFK. And people in this chat going crazy right now about RFK. I don't think it's well known. Again, let me verify. Brock told me that he is very anti-Second Amendment. So that's going to be a strong punch to the gut in my support.
It's under siege. And I will continue to protect innocent life nobody did for you. And when the Republicans start speaking about it, Because, you know, the Democrats are the radicals. The Democrats are the radicals because they'll kill the child in the 4th month, 5th month, 6th month, 7th month, 8th month, 9th month, even after birth. Even after, remember that wacky former governor of Virginia where he said, yes, we will take the baby and we will discuss.
I
This
do
is
remember.
after the 9th month, the baby is born. And we will discuss with the mother what we want to do with the baby. They'll kill the baby. They're the radicals. The pro-lifers aren't the radicals. They're the radicals. And when
I'm stuck in the middle on that one.
politicians, and some of them do and some of them don't, you have to go with the exceptions for the election, but you also have to follow your heart. You have to follow your heart. But when politicians speak about that strongly and with conviction, it's a fantastic issue, but you have to go with
Free
what you
Trump book?
believe. You have to go with what
The
you
kid
feel.
guide to
Very
President
important.
Trump. Well,
But
that's new.
we got it done. We ended Roe v. Wade, which is the most radical. And we brought it back to the states, by the way. We brought it back to the states where every legal scholar, even those opposed, every legal scholar said it should be. We did something that nobody thought would be possible. For 52 years, they've been trying to do it. I got it done. And again, it's got to be spoken about properly. Ronald Reagan, as you know,
Hey, Barb.
wanted the exceptions. He was in favor. He wanted the exceptions very strongly, felt that exceptions were important. Some people don't. Most people do, but some people don't. And you have to follow what you follow. But it's an amazing thing that was done. Nobody thought it would be possible. And we will restore free speech, and I will secure our elections. And our goal will be one day voting with paper ballots and voter ID. One day voting, paper ballots, and voter ID.
So he made a funny point earlier about how there was some form of recognition that the election was allegedly rigged in 2020. And he quoted that Hillary Clinton went on to say, "Why didn't they do that for me?" End quote. So just, I don't know. The man's just got a point with pointing out things that have occurred, happened, or he just, he cannot always come off polished, and it's the lowest hanging fruit to go after to critique him. I again really don't want to come off as like I'm just only for Trump ever. I still got my eye on RFK. It's not been proven to me that Vivek is a plant or a psyop. People have all sorts of opinions. You have to have the conviction to stand by them because you will be attacked. Your opinions will be attacked, but we need to have the dialogue.
But until then, Republicans have to compete and we have to win. Once we win, get me in there, we'll change things around. It'll be so beautiful. You know, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world. No country ever
Oh yeah, our not recession. Our inflation right now is up by 44% or something. Bacon is like $5.
did what we did. That's why we have this kind of support.
Don't have again.
If we didn't, you wouldn't be giving us this support, both in security and every other thing that we did. Rebuilding the military. We have tremendous support in the military, tremendous support from every single group, including women and suburban women. You know why? They want safety. They want safety. A lot of suburban women, they said, oh, Trump's not doing well with suburban women. I think we did great with suburban women. I think that we had a lot of bad things happening, but, you know, they want safety. They want security. They don't want to have a low-income development built next to them in their house that they work so hard to get with their husbands, you know? And we ended all.
As a non-suburban woman, I'll say, working in a liquor store area under a corporation, there is a low-income neighborhood being built right across the street, and things have been changing, just not for the best. So does more affordable need to always mean more crime? Somebody just donated 3,200 yen. Anyway, moving on. Yes, continue with the stream.
All of that. So we're doing well. We did well with every single group. And what's happened is we did well, but people take it for granted a little bit. For instance, we had the safest border ever. And in 2020, I never talked about the border because we had such a good border. There was nothing to talk about. I said, can I talk about the border? Sir, nobody cares about the border. I said, that's terrible. In 2016, it was the single biggest issue. In 2020, I couldn't talk about it because nobody cared. They fell asleep. because I did it. I did a great job on the border. But now the border is worse than it ever was in history. It makes
I
2016
see
look
it's
like a
buffering. I
safe
don't know
border.
why. My connection's all right.
They've destroyed what we did. I can get it back. We'll get Tom Homan and Brandon Judd, and we'll get all of these
Well, I
guys
hope
that are so
YouTube's not
great.
up
And
for the
the people
antics
I have,
again.
incredibly,
They're used.
all Biden
I
had
hope.
to do, one of his consultants think he looks good in a bathing suit, and they send him to the beach a lot, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Does he ever go into the office? But they send him to the beach, and he's got a problem because those chairs weigh about 3 ounces. They're marvels. They can hold a body, but a child can lift them up, right? He can't. And he can barely get his feet through the sand. And he sits there all day long at the beach, right? If he went to
Thank
the
you for letting me
beach,
know.
instead of destroying our border, destroying our military, destroying our country, if he just went to the beach all day long and just let everything be run the way it was, he would have gone down, but really as a very good president. He's destroyed everything. And a lot of it was, they say he destroyed because anything I did, he just wanted to.
Is he saying that if Biden would just essentially shut up and stay out of his own way, basically saying like let the status quo do its status quo thing, that he'd go down as like a president that functioned properly? Look at this, euros, yen, people are donating left and right here. But wow, that's quite an admission. He's saying the system, the corrupt little swamp that it is, let's use his own terminology, would have not batted an eyelash at how terrible Biden is if he'd just stand out of his own way and maybe not had a son that was a crackhead.
Do different. How stupid is that? Because we had the safest border in history. Now we have the most unsafe border of any nation in history, in my opinion. And just in conclusion, this is what we must do to restore our country to greatness. All of the things that we've been talking about. The USA is a mess. Israel is under attack. Our economy is cratering. Inflation is totally out of control. It's very bad. China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. Remember North Korea, how bad it was? And I got along with Kim Jong-un. They formed together as a menacing and destructive
their own
coalition.
currency.
Our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard, which will be our greatest defeat in 200 years. If we lose our currency, we'll be the greatest. We will be a third world nation then. But it won't happen with me, not even a chance. Just like Russia would never have happened. Ukraine, China. Think of that. Russia with.
To me, he's touching on how high the stakes are, and they are. I've made it clear every time I go live. I'm freaking terrified. I don't want the conflict of Israel and deplorable Hamas, both with blood on their hands, to reach World War III. Like it's a terrifying thought. It was even just brought up within my family not that long ago, and that's the closest we as a family have ever come to acknowledging that it's a possibility, and maybe taking our money and putting it into something more secure. So it's very realistic here. So when this guy who is so easily taught to be hated on starts talking about the very things that everyday regular Americans are discussing at their dinner tables, he keeps my attention. I don't care if he's orange and tanned and slips up on a word or two or tweets mean things. Okay, the stakes are too damn high to pay attention to such small potatoes here.
Ukraine and China would not have even thought about going into Taiwan. And I had, with President Xi, I had conversations about it. I said, can't do it. You can't do it if you do it. It was almost an identical conversation I had with President Putin, but I used the names of different
Trump
cities.
went to war with Xi Jinping and China regarding the tariffs of aluminum, steel, and metal, and we just about won and then you know what I always say. Then COVID hit about 2-4 weeks later. This man, despite his conflict with our mainstream media and the government shills, had diplomacy and the art of the deal pretty much on lock. That's what he brought to the table from New York.
Does that make sense to anybody? But I said, you can't do it. And he didn't do it. He only did it after I left. Planes. A week after I left, they had 28 bombers flying over Taiwan. They never did that with me. But I would have left Afghanistan, as an example, I was the one that got them down. It was 21 years with dignity. We would have had such dignity, not embarrassment. Most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. If you took the 10 worst presidents of the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done. And I used to say 5, and I'd always preface it by saying, I think I could say 10. I think I can say 10. You take the 10 worst presidents, they would not have done, even weaponization, nobody's done that. They would not have done the damage that this man's done to our democracy, to our country. We're a failing nation. We're a nation in decline. And now these radical left lunatics want to interfere with our elections by
Thank you,
using
coaching.
law enforcement. It's totally corrupt, and we can't ever let it happen.
I'm just hosting the guy that is silenced on every term by anything considered mainstream. And I hope that everybody, I shared it on the community post of this channel. Please share what this man has to say. I don't see an enemy. He is literally, I take it that he is the one standing in the way. And that's why they've made so many witch hunts to take him out and make him unable to run, as is his constitutional right to run for president again, to be reelected. They want him to be silenced and to be out of the way, and he's standing in between that force that wants to overtake the country. Man, it really sounds like I'm grandiose, making him overly grandiose, but I'm just seeing it as I see it, saying it as I see it. Once he's out of the way, what does happen? You know, like, this is the last stand. Him and RFK, even though I'm told there's things I need to learn about RFK, but we really don't have that many heroes and fighters for what's right or what America is anymore. We got the people that take orders and the people that write legislation. And then there's the rest of us.
Want to save America from Crooked Joe and the radical left, then get every patriot you know, make sure that you're registered Republicans, you have to be registered Republican, and get them out to vote in their local precinct caucus at 7 p.m. on Monday, January 15th. January 15th, so important. Get them.
How can the Democrats ever paint paper ballots, like making sure that all votes are accounted for, tallyable, traceable, and authentic? How can somebody stand by the side that says, we don't want to be able to prove that the people that voted? So I'll never understand the backlash. I know we're in a digital era, but that can make us far too lazy and give us the illusion of control. We can click something on a screen and think we just accomplished something. It'll never be the same as going to the place where you have to and signing your name and checking off the boxes and reading the fine print. So I don't understand. I'll never understand why the so-called self-righteous good guys think they're the good guys by saying, no, we need to have a say in how you vote. He's only saying, just vote the way we've always voted.
Them to get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. We have to send it off with a bang. We're going to win Iowa, but we got to win by, we want to win by a big number because we want to go into that election. And remember, the only reason you first is because I kept you there. A lot of people like to take credit. There was only one person that kept you first. We're asking you to commit to caucus for us and to bring as many people as you can. You bring 3 or 5 or 10 or 20. And it's very important, so important. It sets a tone for the rest of the election because in November we have to win. Sign up.
Tim has got pushing 50 here. Okay, when you see so many mainstream powerful forces with the money behind them to back them to do this dance a billion times over, you have to start asking questions. Once you do that, you start to find the answers. That's exactly my little origin story that I'm sick of saying, but for the sake of continuity here, I was on a show called Stuck in the Middle. I was the lefty guy. I was the Democrat. I had to go and verify every claim by the mainstream about Trump being evil and the worst possible human and president in the world. Every time I looked it up, it was always a lie and propaganda and literal collusion with the DNC and the FBI and the mainstream media. So then a very slow evolution of over 5 years, I learned, oh my God, I'm being lied to. I'm the indoctrinated one. I'm the brainwashed one. And I was taught to laugh at Trump supporters was like somehow an American thing to do. That's how backwards it is. And it's still there.
Up at ia.donaldjtrump.com and get involved. 2024 is our final battle. It's our final battle. This country is going to either be greater than ever before, or we're not going to have a country. That's how bad it all is. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. They want to go to war with every country. They know nothing about it. Let's just go.
Republicans have always been touted as the warmongers, but look at us now. Look at Hillary. We saw, he died, conquered over there. Biden, look at all the conflicts happening while he somehow is unable to even take the credit for the very bloodshed that he funds via proxy war. How much finances has he sent over to the Ukraine? Okay, money that needs to be allocated to our own backyard, well over $1 billion. And was it 450 million a year? No, 480 million a year to Israel. We stand with Israel. We know this, but when do we just start putting our own priorities first in terms of our economy, our farmers? Trump is a city boy that was fighting for the farmers. He was the last voice fighting for the farmers. I don't understand the backlash here. It's funny to point out, what does that city slicker know about the farms? But it's an integral part of America staying independent.
Go to war. Let's make all those missiles and let's just go to war. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communist, Marxist, and fascist, and we throw out the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media. They're so sad. They have such an important place, and they're so fake. They're so corrupt. They have a lower rating now in the public eye than Congress. Can you believe that? But they serve such a function. They could do such a great thing. It's so hard without them because they are fake. It was a term I came up with a long time ago, and it's almost not tough enough. That's how bad it is, but hopefully they can change. We will evict Joe Biden from the White House, and we will finish the job once and for all. Once and for all.
He doesn't just not to... They deserve more than just him losing the presidency. That family needs to be made an example of. They need to do worse than what happened to Nixon with Watergate, where the iconic image of "I am not a crook," like that was too much justice for Nixon. We need worse. We need a better example of what the Biden family has done, all while somehow maintaining the media's favor. It's almost like the mainstream media doesn't even have a finger or an ear to the pulse of the country and the real working people of this country. Oh my God, almost seems like there's a huge disconnect forcing us all to pocket on the internet because we know we're not represented.
The great silent majority is rising like never before, and under our leadership, the forgotten man, woman, will be forgotten no longer. We're going to forget them no longer. I didn't forget them for 4 years, but then they forgot them. With your help, your love, and your vote, we will put America first. We will make America great again, greater than ever before. We can do that, greater than ever before. Thank you very much, Iowa, and God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm just going to do some commentary real quick, maybe some random searches. Yeah, people love him. You know, that's something that a lot of these other politicians can never dare claim or say. Yes, RFK is gaining traction. I know a lot of you maybe aren't familiar with RFK, but his message, he's learned to go on the podcasting scene, to reach out beyond the mainstream. The mainstream is the enemy. I don't think that's QAnon-ish. I don't think it's hyperbolic. Oh, here's something I sent to myself, just in case. And look, here's that just in case. By the way, random shout out to Justin from Actions Not Distractions. Random shout out to my way too talented better half, who I know is in the chat. But all right, check this out. This is being celebrated, and my boy Maxwell, who one day will be on panel. This is somehow being celebrated. Why would anybody in America hear a line like "gag order" of a former president and celebrate? And that's what outlet is this here? I think this is ABC. They're reporting. So apparently, and this was just what a day ago, 3 hours ago. Okay, this might be lag, so maybe 6 hours ago at most. So a federal judge has put a gag order on then President Trump regarding January 6th, the worst thing he's ever said. This is like this is so ridiculous. I feel like I'm a teacher of a classroom here of you would all be the graduate students and that's have surpassed all the knowledge here because we already know what happened. They can't skewer reality any further than they've attempted time and time again. Okay, the worst he said on that day was go over there peacefully, right? But what do? They skewer and use every image and soundbite to make it look like he incited something entirely other. And that very day, I don't know if it's still on this channel, I live streamed it and called it a celebration of the people's voice and a recognition that we still have one. So let's see our own mainstream media, our own journalism, or our own journalists coming to us, the people reporting to us, why now it's suddenly a good thing to silence people. And I would think Trump would be one of the most influential people to speak on this. So maybe that's why he's not going to be allowed to specifically talk about things. I don't know. Let's listen for a moment.
Following news out of federal court here in Washington, D.C., the judge overseeing former President Trump's federal election interference case partially granted the government's request for a gag order, actually restricting the former president from making disparaging statements relating to this case. Our senior reporter.
What does that mean? Let me break this down. All right. So he can't make disparaging statements regarding this case. Does that mean he can't critique those that critique him? Does that mean it's almost like a backwards game of YouTube where if you go after the big brother here, that big brother writes a rule where you can't go after them, but they can go after you. That was a poorly structured sentence, but it's very sad how close to reality it is. So now he can't defend himself. So not only have they tried everything to fabricate things to throw him away behind bars, to have him removed from the ballot, now they're going to take away his voice, which has never gone successfully. And when on any side of any war conflict in history has the good guys been the one trying to silence those that are trying to speak? I ask that again. When in the history of this country, or any other for that matter, have the good guys been the one trying to silence people? That's the question I have. Democrats, feel free to give me an answer. And my friends over at Stuck in the Middle Studios and Pages and all the other pages we have on Facebook, you can watch this. I've called you out. I haven't seen any responses to come up on panel and talk to me, but you love sharing your links and your screen caps. Discourse, speaking, use it.
Catherine Faulders was inside the courtroom, joins us now with more. So, Catherine, just kind of break down what we know at this hour.
Yeah, Kara, it's a stunning moment because this order that the judge imposed is the most restrictions that President Trump has had on his speech to date. You've heard him on the campaign trail, on the stump, his stump speech. He often refers to special.
People should be pissed. People should be pissed that this is the most effective means of silencing him. We just saw him, despite all this, do a campaign run in Iowa and give a great speech. I didn't get to catch all of it. He still was able to get the points across. We can only wonder and speculate what he is not able to say now. And to me, you're just giving him more badges of honor because you keep trying to whack-a-mole him down and he keeps coming right back up.
Special counsel Jack Smith as deranged. He's called his staff thugs, for example. Those words were heavily used in this courtroom today with this order that this judge ultimately imposed. She said that the former president, that Trump cannot use those words as it relates to the special counsel, as it relates to his staff. He can't disparage witnesses, for example. He's allowed to broadly attack the government. He can say he believes that the investigation, for example, is politically motivated, but he also can't speak about former Vice President Mike Pence's role in January 6th, for example. And when Trump attacks Pence, that is mostly what he focuses on. So it really was a stunning ruling from the judge, given
they put very specific stipulations on what he can and can't say. And again, a former president, I don't understand how there's not a consensus of the working class. There's no middle class who are just struggling to get by at seeing this for just what it is. They're just completely trying to silence and destroy a man without literally destroying him because they'll make a martyr of him, and they don't want to deal with that mess. Oh man, this is grotesque. Like, America should not be proud. Nobody, not even a Democrat, should be applauding this ruling, saying you can't talk about specifically Mike Pence's part in January 6th. You could talk about government in a vague term. You could talk about the establishment, but don't get into details. Don't talk about specifics. What kind of a ruling is that? Where's the freedom? Where's the First Amendment? Where is anything forming that reminds me of patriotism in such a ruling? The federal judge that made this ruling should be fired.
And that the government, of course, had asked for this limited gag order, she believes, and she said that this is more limited given that he can still attack the Biden administration if he so wishes. He can say it's politically motivated. But the big question now becomes...
Oh, great. He's allowed to attack the Biden administration. He's allowed to. He's been allowed to by the federal courts. A former president is allowed to say Biden is essentially a piece of shit. Fantastic.
What happens if he violates this? His top attorney, John Lauro, said in the courtroom today that whatever order was issued, that the Trump legal team would likely appeal it, for example. They haven't issued an appeal yet, but when do they do that? How fast does this get appealed? Does he
More bureaucracy. They're trying to throw as much red tape into this whole, this mishmash of shenanigans so that they can just tie him up as much as possible so he'll be overconsumed and not be able to run effectively a campaign. They're failing. I hope that they see that they're failing, and they're making him stronger. That's what's happening every time they try. This man is taking you guys out mainstream with his hands tied behind his back with every possible lawmaker and corrupt whatever official trying to keep him quiet and gone. You can't do it, can you? You want to do the one thing that we're so familiar with the Clintons, 42 to 49 people that were too close and are no longer with us. Can't do the one thing, can you?
And if he does violate it, what are the sanctions that the judge said she would impose? There's lots of questions here, and I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more from Trump's team on this order here today, Kira.
All right, so, in light of all this gag order discussion, Trump and his lawyers...
She should be ashamed of herself. Right here, this woman here, trying so hard to hide that she's getting older, is trying so hard not to just burst a laugh. Like, they're doing it in our faces. We are the people supposedly with the power, but clearly some deal was made with the media and the government, the swamp, I don't know, deep state, and they're laughing right in our faces when they are making the moves against every amendment we know is our own, when they violate our rights. This little bitch is laughing at us.
Are they responding in any way?
Well, look, I think they haven't said anything yet. His lawyers are still inside this courthouse behind me. They said during oral arguments that they intended to appeal.
I'll tell you this, Anarchy Television, your comment right there, I wish that it's a dangerous wish, right? But how much longer can we keep on the way we are? I think this election is going to be very telling, and I'm afraid of what will come if we don't see things play out, not the way we want it to, but honestly and transparently. I mean, there's only so far that American people can be pushed. Like in France, it's normal to protest, and then, some lives are lost in the protest. Life goes on. I don't know what to expect here. And with all of the chaos globally, it's really a frightening thought. But I do agree with the sentiment. I wish we could do just what you just said. Like, make our own force, so to speak.
Any order. I asked his top lawyer who was arguing, John Lauro, this after she issued the order. I said, do you intend to appeal this? He wouldn't say it outside of the courtroom, but said that what he said inside the courtroom still stands. He stands by those comments. So that likely signals an appeal, something we're likely to see, I'm sure, from Trump's team, whether it's in the coming hours or the coming days.
All right. And then what's next, Catherine?
Look, I think we need to see the actual physical paper order from the judge and go through that. She said from the bench what she intends to do, so she still needs to issue that paper order. What's next will probably...
Is there a reason they're not sharing the federal judge's name? Can we see that in the description? Would there be any specific reason that we wouldn't get? Is it okay? Here's a CNN thumbnail I'm looking at. So we got a name, okay, and they showed it briefly. Just they're being so vague about it. I want to know the people that have the rights of and the power to gag former presidents. I thought that was a distinctionary title you get to keep, But all right. So I see her face. Get just something to take note of.
We see appeals, for
Know thy
example,
enemy.
what that appeal specifically looks like. We don't know yet, so we'll be looking for what the Trump team says on his...
Okay, that's stupid convictions, man. All the time the media is wasting on these witch hunts and hoping that he's going to slip up. All of the money that's been allocated through our own pockets, and they've gone nowhere. We've literally had the proof, and it's been discussed on a wide panel on the global stage. The Steele dossier, the fact that that is a title and a word that we all know should put them to shame, and somehow it's still going business as usual. The collusion that they always claimed Trump had with Russia, it was always there, but it was by the people claiming it. Liar, liar, pants on fire. The boy who cried wolf. It was Hillary Clinton and James Comey and company and everybody else that's still somehow in the spotlight but never quite in the spotlight. I am losing touch with how it really works. It's just to keep a good man and a good woman down, and also somehow, while it's happening, change the definition of what a man and a woman is. Keep us extra confused in the process so we can fight each other over non-issues as everything around the world is falling apart. Okay, cool, sure.
Language as it relates to the special counsel, as it relates to witnesses. So those are the next steps, at least at this point in this case.
All right, Catherine, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks so much, Catherine, for being an advocate of violating our rights. I'm tempted. All right, I'm going to open up my Facebook because I send myself a bunch of stuff all the time. Oh, Russell Brand had something about Fauci getting that he messed up big time. So that's very compelling. Let me see. Key witness. Sorry. This is where I send all my little topics, and I do a quick reading. I'm like, do I want to share this? Is it something I want to discuss with Josh? We're stuck in the middle. By the way, big congratulations to Josh. Oh, did you guys hear about the... okay. This video is going to be demonetized. Here's something that caught my attention. Check out the title in and of itself, man. Unilad. All right. Her daughter was a key witness in the trial, and now her... So right when the flight log is being promised to be released in 2024, a key witness for the trial of the Epsteins, a key witness, man, who went through the tortures on that island, has a mysterious unalive. This is the face. Let me hold on. Let me show you that. This is the face of shock. Ugh. Yeah, one that apparently doesn't care too much of the Jew fro growing out of control, but this is our shocked face. When is that shocked face going to grow into pure rage and a call for action? How often are we going to see and hear the most important individuals to take down the most evil in our country and our world? We're losing good people here, and they're just becoming headlines, and that's not a service to them. That's not a service to their memory and what they had to go for. We want to protect the children, right? So let's break this down a little bit more. Okay, mom of Jeffrey Epstein victim who testified against Ghislaine Maxwell wants answers after she dies in mysterious circumstances. I never want to hear those two words put together again in my life, because they're just surrounded by too many happy accidents that always favor the government, the powers that be, the oppressors that claim somehow that they're getting oppressed. This poor child, she may She was not a child at the time of no longer existing, but she was a child and all she knew was suffering, and now her voice has been taken away. So here's a picture. Let's remember. Okay, that's the mother who's now heartbroken, demanding answers. I believe I recognize her from the extensive documentary. And there's the victim who mysterious fucking circumstances have taken her away. How many mysterious fucking circumstances have led to the disappearance and the loss of life regarding people that got too close to the Clintons? I don't mean to sound like an Alex Jones or whatever. I don't care. I don't care about the labels and the attacks. Anybody that goes public will be attacked. Let's stick with the story here. I'm just so fucking drained from this man. The mother of a woman who testified against Ghislaine is desperate for police to reopen the investigation into her death after she suddenly passed away. Carolyn Andrea, I need to save that name. I need to do everything that I possibly can. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to send it to myself. I'm going to see exactly what she said on any transcripts I can find. And we're going to do our best to ensure that everything she was going to bring to the table is still out there, even though she is not. So, Caroline Adriano, who survived being mistreated by sex trafficker, I'm not going to mince words here, sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, gave testimony in court which proved crucial to the prosecutor's case against his accomplice, Maxwell. So this was a linchpin in ensuring that Ghislaine Maxwell didn't just get away with things. Andriano, rest in peace, claimed Maxwell had routinely scheduled, we know what massages means at this point, for her with Epstein, and that Epstein had molested her up to 3 times. But in May 2023, Adriano passed away in a hotel room in West Palm Beach, Florida. Somehow hearing that it was that close just makes my heart sink. Police in West Palm Beach opened an investigation into her death, but it reached the conclusion that Adriano had died of an accidental overdose. Give me a moment here. So okay. You're going to be a voice for so many victims. You want justice for yourself, for the people, the sisterhood that you've made. And you're going to go and play with your life and just end it all. All right, before I get hyperbolic myself, sensational, overzealous, emotional, let's see what how many accidental overdoses of people that are just the most convenient, I'm stumbling over myself. Okay. However, Adriano's mother is desperate for the police to reopen the case, telling the Daily Beast that before her death, her daughter was all set up for a whole new lifestyle. They're going to use her history as the ultimate deterrent of anybody that gave her credibility. They're going to character assassinate her. But I can guarantee you this, audience. They're going to do it in a way where it doesn't appear slanderous on the mainstream. They're going to be very calculated about their outlets. You're going to see more print than you will hear it on the news. That's my call right now. They want to maintain posterity while they defame a victim of one of their... Nope. I was going to say... Later, he learned she wasn't feeling well. Recalling the conversation he had with Pitts, the brother said, "I said, if she's so sick, why don't you call the ambulance, bro? Do something. You got to take her to the hospital," he said. "Oh, no, she is all right." Are we shining a light? Okay, my brain is processing a little faster than my lips here. Did Mr. Pitts, the future husband, did he refuse ambulance? Was he deterring the family's concern? Okay, so I don't know this name. Groenert later learned about her daughter's death in a text from Pitts, which read, "I gotta call you back. Caroline died last night. Are you..." Oh, man. Okay. Pitts. This guy. Can we get a whole name here? Did they share the full name? Like, was he? I'm jumping to conclusions. Okay, I don't do all my research. Take me down for that. But something stinks. What's this dude's full name? I know it's. We got the last name Pitts, and there's a distinction in their last names. I'm looking for something to copy, paste, so I can research or just look up later. All right, let's continue on. Just so much bullshit stacking upon itself as I keep on reading. So the brother of the victim is telling the husband, Mr. Pitts, if she's really that bad, why don't you get an ambulance, bro? What are you doing? He's like, no, she's all right, dude. She's good. And then after the fact, he texts the mother, hey, I gotta call you back. Your daughter, your daughter. Yeah, she's not alive anymore. As of last night. What in the Sam Hill? He can't even be reporting this like we're meant to be taking this seriously. Can't. Speaking of the investigation, the mom said, it shouldn't be closed. I agree. I begged them. I sent them numerous messages. I've asked for them to make meetings, contact me, and to no avail. Officers on the scene took a statement from Pitts. Why do they just give me his first name? Okay. All right. Mr. Pitts, husband, I need, okay. All right. Sorry. For later use. Adriano, let me get the whole damn name. All right. I have this article here as reference. I think this is the mother's name. This is the mother's name. I need to. Why can't we just get a full freaking name, dude? It's going to be so much harder for me to do research with just a last name. I'm going to have to do husband of. I'm losing, I've lost track. Adriano, or is that the mother? Okay. And I can't apologize if I'm getting confused in real time. Just getting so sick and tired of the way these things play out. So, okay, no surprise, the people that are supposed to do their jobs that get funded by our tax monies didn't do shit. Officers on the scene took a statement from Pitts. Can we get a full name? Who said Adriano had been using drugs and that he tried to administer CPR. This is the guy that said, no ambulance necessary. He administered CPR and then texts the mother. The medical examiner reported that Adriano's purse was found containing crack pipes, a small baggie with white powdery residue, and a needle cap. So she is doing so well. She's so clean. She's about to buy a new home. And all of a sudden, just, with whenever she had to be up for the testimony, she ends it all. She was clean for how long? Let's see all the context here. And why is it just Pitts? Okay, Publix also found 6 empty small plastic containers that, according to the husband, were methadone in syrup that they received from the methadone clinic. When they say they, are we referring to, come on, listen, Unilad, give me some fucking information to go on here. Was our husband Pitts here a user as well? If that's the case, say so. Why is it gotta be like I'm reading an article from the fucking Riddler here? Pitts has not commented, on Gro Nert's claims about her daughter's death, but his sister Serena told the Daily Beast the suggestion that Adriano's death was suspicious is ridiculous. You gotta be kidding me. Read this article and tell me there's nothing suspicious about everything we've learned from top to bottom in such a small monicum of time. Changed her life around, was a victim, became a warrior, and now this, right? In such appropriate order, like a script, tightly knit bow, done, wrapped, cold case now, get the hell out of here. And the family begging for answers, nothing. Right now, our family is grieving the loss of Caroline and okay, so Caroline, copy. I'm going to go back and forth here. That's the first name. Okay. And Pitts would have been the name if she was married. I don't know. I'm going to copy the mother's name as well. Sorry, I'm doing this in real time. We need to see these faces. This is who we lost right here. This woman that was treated as trash as a child that became a warrior and a face and a voice for many that also either didn't make it or went to battle. In her testimony, let me see, at Maxwell's trial, Adriano, I'm just going to copy this, claimed she was allowed to do whatever she wanted because her mom was an alcoholic and a drug addict. Groenert has since denied this, saying she was working in the period Adriano was referring to. A toxicology report obtained by the Daily Beast indicates Adriano had methadone, fentanyl, and alpha-blah, blah, blah, that's Xanax, which is the generic name for Xanax, in her system when she died. Look, in this day and age of mainstream reporting and official reports from the sources, three-letter agencies, I don't trust a damn thing. As an American, I think that's a new standard, unfortunately, is just trust nothing. Believe what you see and trust nothing else. That's sadly the world we're in, especially with the government as they are. So I don't care. I want an independent toxicology report, because you know how easy it is to just get things in one system or write anything on a paper and get an official name. Everybody's bought and paid for. This is not only a trial against Ghislaine Maxwell or Jeffrey Epstein, who is allegedly gone, dead, whatever, with no camera footage or evidence that we can ever possibly find, and somehow life goes on, because that's what we can only do, is continue to move on. But this could possibly show the entire essence of Hollyweird and the connection that they have with the politicians that do all the dirty things behind the curtains. Epstein was the guy that was getting all of the little dirty notes and for blackmail, just in case they turned on him, because he knew what kind of people they were dealing with. He knew the people that were coming and currying favor, and that's how he got so wealthy and powerful, because he got the people that we are indoctrinated to trust, the people that pass the laws, make the decisions, or we think are heroes because they're in our favorite movies, right? The Hankses and the Oprahs, so on and so forth. So that's why it's not going to be shocking when we see more of these mysterious accidents or overdoses and official toxicology reports time and time again. And I'm almost scared to predict it ain't going to be the last. Was it even the first? Lewis Nelson, professor and chair of the Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School's Department of Emergency Medicine and director of the Division of Medical Toxicology, pointed out that Xanax and fentanyl can't. We all know this. Don't report it like we don't know this shit. We are smarter than you guys keep on giving us the credit for. Yes, we know if a benzodiazepine and an opiate combine together, you're putting your life at risk. So telling us that the generic form of Xanax and fentanyl can be a dangerous combination is absolutely stupid. Yes, it suppresses the breathing. This is a no-duh. I live in the state where the opiate epidemic took out, 70% of my best friends. Following Adriano's death, let me go back a bit. Convinced the truth is yet to be uncovered, Groenert said, "Nobody's giving me any answers, and you know what? I'm over it, because this is my daughter, and she deserves justice. She got to a point where she was turning her whole life around." Following Adriano's death, Groenert is now in a legal battle with Pitts over her daughter's will, which was filed before she married him. Dude, this Pitts fella is he's like an obvious suspect, but I want to know further beyond Pitts, because she was a part of something too damn big for him just to be in it for whatever she had to give. Scott, I'm throwing conspiracy out here as speculation. All right, this is how the gears in my brain work. Somebody got to him. That's my guess. Allegedly, somebody got to him, gave him an easy deal he couldn't refuse, persuaded him, something or other. Why else would he decline the ambulance? Why else would he send such a heartless text message to the mother? Your daughter's gone. I'll call you back. Like, what the? So now there's a legal battle, which was okay, right? Adriano received millions of dollars in settlements. Okay. So there's right there. Of course, that's going to be what everybody that doesn't want to think that this is anything more than as it's perceived and reported is that he wanted to get everything she got as a result of the settlements. Do I have it right or wrong that she was going to go forward on the testimony with the release of the logs? And what do we have here? I'm just only going to read the headline. I'm not going down the Epstein rabbit hole much further. Again, final batch of salacious Jeffrey Epstein allegations against his associates set to be unsealed. Okay. The final batch of court documents. What can I say? I need to find out real quick. Containing allegations concerning associates of Jeffrey Epstein are due to be released. This is regarding the log in next year. It has been 3.5 years, Slow Drip Media, since the convicted sex offender was found dead in his cell without, any real evidence except for a picture. In the Metropolitan Correctional Center, the worst place to possibly house him, New York, while awaiting trial for sex trafficking. Yada yada. We know the story. We know the story from here. His death sparked. We know. Tell me something. Don't re-report to me. The Daily Mail reports that the last round of court documents contains allegations regarding 167 people, ranging from associates of Epstein to victims and employees. That has my attention. They report that these documents will be released in the coming months and claim that within the papers is information relating to at least one public figure. The court documents were first filed regarding a defamation case brought against Epstein and Maxwell in 2015 by Virginia Girard. Okay, all right. Well, there's a lot of truth that we're finally going to be told, a la Slow Drip. But don't, please, I ask anybody that's following all of these stories during the tumultuous existence that is 2023, soon to be ending with, possible World War III on the cusp and everything else going on. We're dealing with a lot. We're just trying to survive. We're trying to see that the right person gets elected for the job of the presidency. We're overwhelmed, okay? It feels like we're being beaten up at every angle. Please never forget the first instinctual emotion of anger or despair that you felt when you first learned of the atrocious crimes of Epstein. Or don't forget what it felt like when that election was so secured by a shadow cabal. Don't forget how angry we were during J6th and what the events that led up to it. Don't forget that raw emotion that you first felt, that the mainstream completely depends on you slowly losing, that fire inside, they know how to manipulate human emotion and how time heals. Sorry, an HDMI port just went completely dark and I lost my screen for a moment, and I hope I didn't just lose the live stream. But all I'm asking is that you remember what you felt as it happened when it happened. Don't let them win by letting you be calm down and docile. You keep that fight strong, because we're going to need every little crumb of fight in us. It needs to come out when it's absolutely necessary. Whatever that time is, whenever that time is, whatever that fight is, we're going to need it if we're going to survive. I don't want to see whatever they have in store to call this country America, the United States. I don't want to see their definition come to fruition. I want to see what we believe it to be happen. So with that, for now, I retire. I thank you. Please, it cost you nothing. Maybe hit the thumbs up if you found that this was entertaining or informative. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of questions to be asked. There's a lot of answers to demand. And remember, at the end of the day, it's so backwards that we've forgotten it ourselves. The government should fear its people, not the other way around. Progressive Patriot out.